Hello guys, once again it's Matt, and today we have another video. Thank you all the members of the Patreons. Make sure to subscribe and let's get into it, guys. So the Datamine, the last Datamine of the first dev server that we had, it was updated yesterday, if you remember, to the 0.4 here. So it has some changes, but as I showed yesterday, it isn't anything too crazy. Thank you Oshida for doing this. I will leave the link in the description for you to check it out. And yes, we have two new vehicles, as you see, the AMX for Italy. Already talked about this vehicle yesterday, but yeah, it's going to be very high BR, man. Apparently 11.0, this is a very high BR, but I gotta be honest, even though it doesn't have the most amount of performance to be a dogfighter or anything like that, it's not meant to be that, right? It's meant to have very advanced missiles, very advanced ground weaponry, and be one of the best ground attackers, even though the payload will be limited in number. So very, very good. Of course, we have a new French ship, apparently. It is a ship, right? I think it's a ship. Volquelin after the Voltour, so yeah, it's a ship. Game parameters, hangars, new shell type, penetrator with enhanced lateral effect tracer bullets, okay? And then we have some aircraft changes. So the first one is obviously getting the Mirage 4000 with the Super 530D. So nice, this is nice. Now you can take 4 missiles of the F as well, but the D variant as well can take 4 missiles. The boss, actually they changed the way that you have to choose the Python 3. I already showed that yesterday. So if you want to choose one Python in the pylon, it will automatically add 2 of them in that pylon, okay? So that's pretty much it. And then we have some flight model changes. So F-15s no longer have chutes apparently, and it has a different instructor overload multiplier basically, right? So it's lowered a little bit, just a tiny bit in some parts over here. So I don't know exactly what this means, if it's just turning a little bit less or a little bit more. Feels like if it's the instructor and overload multiplier, it might be a little bit less, right? But let's wait and see in the full game. Rate max load factor, so as well, it was increased a little bit on the autopilot pitch, so that 15J might be pulling a little bit more, I think. The J11 wings polar 0 Oswald efficient number got increased. I tried to understand what this Oswald efficient number is. It's something to do with lift and drag and the coefficient of drag. No idea exactly. If it's increased, I would say that the drag is increased, but not by much as well, so it doesn't change much. But if you know exactly what this means, leave it in the comments, okay? Mirage 4000, as you see, increased VNE. Afterburner thrust increased, fuel mass increased as well. And then we have the Gripen. The Gripen that we talked about also got these changes. So as you see, the Oswald efficient number got severely increased in the stabilizer, which, if you saw what it does to the canards, I probably would imagine that an increasing number like this, it is basically a nerf on the amount of pitch that you can actually pull or something like that. So it severely increased on this, and it made the Gripen not be able to do the Cobras anymore. So I would suggest that the Su-27 and the J11 got a little bit of a nerf as well there, I think. They're just basically fixing the fly models, you know. It was kind of too crazy, so yeah. They changed a little bit of the targeting pod zooms of the A7 over here, a little bit on the AV8B Plus, as you see here in F-16C, BARAC 2 as well, the D and C, right? Targeting pod here, as you see, it got a massive zoom buff, you know, on the AVB, on AV8B Plus and F-16C and the BARAC, right? A massive buff on the zoom that you can have. But the thermal sight, not a pod, it is decreased. So it will be a little bit harder to identify targets, but you will have a lot more zoom. So it's a win in situation in the end, I think. Buzz and F-15J, they added the new cockpit that I showed to you guys. They added the ejection seat for the F-104Gs. That's very cool. They changed the zoom on the Harrier GR7 and Jaguar GR1 as well. So this is very, very good. They added a new RWR, the SPO-15, the Beriosa for the Mi-24, right? This is interesting. MiG-29, MiG-29G, MiG-29 And then MiG-29 SMT, Yak-141 added radar HMD, but he already had that, I think. That's weird. A severe increase in the zoom of the Mirage 2000 pod, like really, I mean 73 from 23, man. That's a very big buff. And the resolution got better. So yes, expect the Mirage 2000 to be an amazing ground attack aircraft. It already was, right? But still, Mirage 4000 had a cockpit, Su-27 had a radar HMD, added the cockpit as well. Another increase in the Tornado GR1, the Tornado Asta as well. Just overall increases in the zooms, but a decrease in the resolution over here. Some changes in the vertical limits. So very, very cool, guys. So these are all buffs for ground attack aircrafts, you know. Very, very interesting. Added rangefinder for these RWRs, if I'm not mistaken. Interesting because I think that's it, right? This is RWRs. The SPO-15 can also have a rangefinder technically, right? So hopefully they add for everybody. They changed the range on the APG-63, increasing the range kind of heavily, you know, max range 140 kilometers. Even though you can only fire at 45 kilometers with the AIM-7M, it's still a lot of range. APG-65 as well, elevation range, okay, some cheap changes. Then, of course, added stock APF-SDSs for all rank 8s. Very interesting. Generic armor quality. Yeah, I think they decreased the upper glacis screens of the 2A7, if I'm not mistaken. They're nerfed. So that's interesting. Let's wait and see how it is in the live server. Decreased on the STRV as well, as you see. Yeah, and then some other minor changes like 20 millimeters there, 30 millimeters here. T90M. Yeah, kind of a severe decrease in as well in the upper glacis as well of the armor of the composite of the T90M. So just overall a nerf, I think. I think that's a nerf for the Leopard 2A7, the STRVs, and the T90Ms on the upper glacis. A little bit of a change in the speed of the shot of the L-55. Aircraft changes, smoke trails changed, so the smokeless engines are a little bit changed. That's cool. Then some crew training changes. Nothing too crazy. Yeah, this is just, I don't think this is too big. Some changes in economics and the amount of research. BR changes. Yeah, the Mirage 4000 got increased to 12.3, which is funny, but yeah. Some other changes to text over here. As you see, the AMX Ghibli. Hopefully it's added to the game. Apparently it is, right? And yeah, guys, basically this is it. Nothing too major, but it was basically fixing some bugs, improving the arm or the coding of some stuff, nerfing some tanks, buffing some aircraft. You know how it is, right? The patch is really, really near. I don't know if you're going to see another dev server. Hopefully we do, because I really wanted to test the AMX and the British Gripen. But if we don't have one, expect the patch to release anyway at the start of next week, like Tuesday or something like that. So yeah, we are very, very close to the patch. Make sure to subscribe and leave it in the comments what is the thing that you are most excited about in the upcoming patch. See ya, guys. Bye. Subscribe.